Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Michael Kinnemonth. I'm part of the denim team in Lenzing. I'm going to be sharing this presentation with some of the people who helped on this project. We have Tricia from Lenzing. We have Carme from Jeanologia. We have Mohsin from Endrime.
Hello.
And we have Sadia from Endrime. So, how is it that somebody from a man-made cellulosic fiber company is presenting on an online denim conference? Well, when I first began my career many years ago, our industry was a much simpler industry, and denim in those days, if you were to define denim in those days, the definition was rather narrow. You would have a warp face fabric in a 3x1 twill weave. You would have indigo warp yarns, ecru weft yarns. It would be 100% cotton. The yarn counts would be no coarser than 7.5 English, and the fabric weight would be 14.5 ounce. So in my lifetime, the denim industry evolved into a much broader church. We recently recorded a series of videos for our Carved in Blue blog called The Modern Definition of Denim. So what is the modern definition of denim? Well, denim is a fabric that is still primarily made of cotton, but not exclusively. Denim is a fabric that's primarily dyed with indigo, but not exclusively. And denim is a fabric that's primarily made into jeans, but not exclusively. So, where do we find ourselves today? We find fabrics that are multi-fiber blends. We find yarn dyes, piece dyes, garment dyes, fiber dye. We have indigo dye, pigment dye, reactive dye, dope dyed. You can have everything from 4 ounces per square yard through to 20 ounces plus per square yard. Primarily it's woven, but not necessarily. And the only really common factor you find today on all product is that it probably goes through a laundry garment process. So just a few years ago, when Denim City opened their archive of denim, Adriana Goldschmidt was the first person to be invited to be the first inductee. And although you may assume from his illustrious history he might contribute a vintage jean, he actually contributed a knitted indigo jean. So this modern evolution of our industry circles back to why man-made cellulosics are involved in our denim industry. This presentation is about one of the products that one of the projects we were involved with over the last year. And like many of our projects, it is based around collaboration with other partners. My history in TENCEL dates back to 1995, as does my history with Jeanologia. And of many projects we've been done together over the years, the garment collections have been some of the most enjoyable. We have operated under the umbrella title of Sustainable Denim Wardrobe for the last few garment collections. So for Sustainable Denim Wardrobe, we chose that name because we intended to promote our key mill partners, and we wanted to promote the latest laundry technologies, all of which to achieve the lowest environmental footprint without sacrificing design aesthetic. So examples of previous work include chambray collection, super soft, super stretch collection, garment dye collection, coatings, jacquard, seamless knits, and even haute couture. This latest project was probably our biggest challenge because we wanted to produce a collection with a category that we were not really associated with, and that was vintage. Although we did have some history with the Levi engineer Jean, few people today realize that TENCEL was part of such an iconic product. So our collection that we produced in the last year was really two collections. We called it Broadband. And we called it Broadband because we wanted to show the breadth of TENCEL offering denim. Software was one of the collections, and that is archetypal TENCEL. And what we're going to speak about today is Hardwear, and that is a vintage inspired collection. And it is the backstory to Hardwear that we're really presenting today. Collaborators on this project were Endrime and Jeanologia. And to steal a famous line associated with Star Trek, it's TENCEL, Jim, but not as you know it. So just to lead into the main part of the presentation, we're going to show you a short video from the photo shoot of Broadband. So here it is.
Thanks, Michael, for that introduction. It was a great video and a wonderful chance for us to review when we did our photo shoot. A lot of fun, and really gave us a chance to bring the garment collection to life when we have it with models. And so what we'll do next is go through the entire collection, highlights on the garment pieces, the fabrics, as well as the laundry finishing.
Great.
Pass it over to you, Mohsen.
Thank you so much. So in the end of this collection, we actually made 9 garments, and we collaborated also with I think about 9 or 8 different mills. So it's actually quite a big line that we did, and each one was very much focused on what we basically went through the collection. And actually Carme was the one who's instrumental in this, and she's the one who figured out all the fabric collaborations and which garments actually suited it. So the first overall, we decided to use a Kaihara base, which is really, really cool. And what we did also, for every garment that we produced, we also did a little bit of history and like historical work about the actual garment as well. So it kind of made sense. But every single piece in the actual collection we based it on vintage garments, which is really, really fun. And some of them were from my archive, and some of them were also from Carme's archive back at like Jeanologia as well. But this particular one was based off a red camel garment that I built in like Greensboro many years ago. And we did literally a carbon copy of it. And there's no point trying to reinvent styles like this, but there were some really inspiring things that we looked at, especially with the back of the actual like suspenders and the pocket shapes. And we really looked at those kind of shapes and looked at how the garment was made. And we also told the story. Every single garment had every opportunity. So we put stamps on the inside of the garments. We talked about our collaboration. We had the mill logos as well. And we told the actual history as well, which is really, really fun. And then amazingly, Carme and her team managed to wash this like collection, and she can take it from here. Tell us more about how it was washed.
Well, in terms of finishing, we were thinking into create a dark vintage finish for this overall. And the key thing was to have a very subtle but also kind of cloudy laser design, and that's some details through the nano laser machine. That it's a very small laser machine that we create the manual grinding. So we were having this kind of very natural fadings, plus the details of the micro breaks and grinding in the pockets, and also mainly in the waistband area.
Amazing, thank you so much. And obviously this garment featured a lot of details that we got from other garments as well. So not only did we look at how the garment would have been made in the past, we kind of updated it. So we actually cleaned it up, and we made sure things were done with the correct like machine. We did lots of like run and fell finishes where sometimes they're not run and felled. And what we also did is this particular garment gave us an opportunity to put all the main collaborators on the back of the garment as well. So it's one of our key garments. And we also made our own custom leather patches and buttons, and we used this throughout this garment as well. And you can see here just a little bit of inspiration from old to new, what we actually did. And it was a really fun garment to actually make and remake, which is really, really fun. The next garment that we did was a chore jacket. This was using fabric from AMC, based out in like Thailand. Amazing fabrics. We actually used this fabric twice. And again, this was based on an original chore jacket, but we did also our research on chore jackets just to make sure we got it like historically correct. And I managed to get a really old one from one of my like Japan buying trips, and we literally again recreated it again, which is really, really fun. But this time we went to extra details, from using like triple needle chain stitching to actually buying the correct buttons that are like got rings on the back. So there's lots of effort was put onto making this garment, so it was absolutely correct and to the time period. And it was a real joy to actually make. But when we washed it, it was amazing. So Carme, please.
In fact, we wanted to make something very vintage, very aggressive, just to make the opposite to all the sartorial that it's all the sartorial look that, and all the details that are made in the pattern, but also in sewing. No? So the idea was to make something like very smart inside, but also very strong outside. So for that, we choose this very nice fabric that it's very sensitive to the laser. So this is very important, because we developed a laser design that was all over, just to be sure that we were giving all these kind of vintage aesthetic and creating something very I mean, powerful in terms of washing, but always using the technology. As you can see, the laser is a very important part of this garment, but also the overdye. And we have done a kind of tinting, but using the E-flow.
I was more shocked by the whiskering that you guys had created. I remember when we showed this collection at sort of one of the shows we showed at, we had people actually thinking it was a vintage garment. They were confused. They're like, no, this is old. I'm like, no, it was made 2 weeks ago. You know, it was really, it was quite amazing. It's one of my favorite pieces. The wash that you guys did is just like remarkable, really. And then, you know, some of the details from it, obviously we made special like woven labels. It's unheard of that we've spent so much effort and time on such a small collection, but it's turned out to be such a positive for all of us, really. And we even we even treated all of our trims on our wash garments so they looked like they had also been aged, which was really, really fun. We also did a couple of other versions of this wash as well. And again, it featured lots of amazing details. So we've actually uploaded this anatomy PDF on our Carved in Blue site, and Trisha herself is going to be doing some blog posts quite soon about every single garment, like what's all a one by one. So there's lots of opportunities to go through this like really, really like sort of like in detail, which is really fun. And then the next garment, which was one of our favorites as well, was actually using a Candiani fabric. But this particular fabric won the like ITMA award last year, which is remarkable. So it's one of the most sustainable denim fabrics that have been produced. And we managed to use it before they even won the award. So we were very lucky at it, actually. And like, so I think like Trisha and Michael helped getting that through. And again, the trucker jacket's history is actually quite like remarkable. There's many different versions. Obviously, like Levi's being like prominent, but every single brand from Lee and Wrangler played a really big part in the history of the trucker jacket. And one of the earlier ones that they found is actually from the 1870s that actually Michael Allen Harris, a like historian, found, and Levi's bought it. And that's the picture that I'm showing you now. But our particular one is actually based on a type 2. So it's actually more of a 1950s fit. It's got 2 pockets. It hasn't got a cinch anymore. It's actually got like like adjusters. And this is one of my favorite fits, and it's really, 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 really popular. But then we actually recreated it. But when we like recreated it, we slightly modified the fit because obviously there's opportunity to enhance on it. So we made it slightly more longer. We added a cinch back because we love like cinches, but we also made it absolutely beautiful. Even with the way how we made it, we had a like sort of like continuous stitch that went all the way down, and we had all little sort of like miss stitches, and we had selvage details throughout the entire garment because this particular fabric that Candiani had made is also selvage. So it's like 50% recycled cotton with 50% TENCEL lyocell, I believe, and unbelievable, and it washed down remarkable. And we couldn't help it, but we had to show off everything about it, and we tried our hardest to make it as clean as possible. So there's no overlocking, none of that at all. And we also told the stamp story, the history of the garment inside it as well. And we added some secret pockets as well, which aren't really on many trucker jackets. This is one of the prototypes that I made. And then how we washed it was also quite cool as well. Like Carmen, you can like jump in here.
Yeah, in terms of washing, well, I would like to highlight the three-dimensionality of the honeycombs on the sleeves. It's important that we recreate through the laser this three-dimensionality. Nowadays, we can do it easily thanks to the software eDesigner. And honestly, it looks fantastic on a very sustainable fabric, but not only sustainable here. I think that we are merging this concept of tech fabric plus technology applied in the finishing. So I think that it's a whole story.
A really like sort of like successful wash on this garment. And again, many people who have seen the collection didn't think this was made only a few weeks ago. It's quite remarkable. Again, lots of details on this garment. So we've like documented it all for everyone to see. Obviously, we do these collections to inspire other designers and to make people aware that some of these TENCEL lyocell fabrics, they do wash down really, really well. So it's actually helping people understand you can make a very authentic collection using modern fibers as well, not just cotton. So it's a good challenge for all of us, really. So again, lots of details here, and again on the back. And then the next garment's amazing. So this is using this is actually the women's wear pant, and this is one of the ones that you, Carme, you had it on your mood board when you presented the collection to us for the very first time. You said, I want a very good like Depression era 1930s 1940s women's high-waisted pant, and I said, how funny, I've got a few of them. So it was a great way to begin because we had the samples. We didn't have to hunt for them, but the fabric choice here was remarkable. The auto fabric that we actually picked, and lots of detail, lots of historical stuff of like sort of like women's wear. Obviously, women's denim in that particular, most women were wearing men's jeans up until the 30s. You couldn't get, it was all just men's wear. So obviously like Levi's were the first in 1934, I believe they came up with their 701, and after that it snowballed. Then every workwear brand was doing like a women's like sort of like fit, which is really cool. So our one again is based off a real garment. So this is a like depression era garment that I picked up a long time ago. What's remarkable about it is it's got details that are really women's wear. It's got a feminine yoke. It's got really small pockets that are really cute. The fit is remarkable, and it's got a side entry. So it's got a popper with a zipper. So it's a really different, and the pockets are done. They're like, it's got a one-sided patch pocket on the inside, so it's sewn on from the front. So it's a really amazing garment in itself and historically. And the fabric was like a 2x1. So the idea was to pick something that was very lightweight with an 8 or 10 ounce feel. And this is the one that we actually made. And we made all this collection, I have to say, we did it all at like Black Horse Lane in like Walthamstow in like sort of East London. And those guys were amazing. And they literally, after we completed the collection in our own studio, we then had to make like 13 or 15 pieces of each one for the TENCEL team. So we got our friends at Black Horse to recreate the collection again. And they did a remarkable job from all the patterns and all the original garments that we had done. And again, there's actually the feminine yoke, and we played a lot with stitches. So it's like a sort of 5/16 like triple needle with a 1/4 double needle, single needle belt loop, all like run and fell, so no overlocking. And this is the side zipper on the back, and it used our special custom carved in blue buttons that we made at like YKK. And and then we watched this. This one was cool as well. So Carme, you can like jump in for us.
Yeah, I really like this garment. I love the fabric. Is very sensitive to the laser, so that makes super easy to make a sustainable finish. And well, the result is because we have been combining different technologies, not only the laser but also the ozone. But I would like to highlight here, for example, that the damages has been done using the Light Reaper tool from our software, from our image software, and also that we have this kind of tinting and this kind of vintage flair due to the tinting done with eFlow. So it's not only about only one technology, it's about a combination, but I think that especially the Light Reaper and the eFlow are giving a kind of special touch in this garment.
And what's cool about this garment, this garment and one more garment, we used a lot of the other fabrics as the backing, as the repair, right? So I think there's some fabrics we used on the apron that's going to come up soon. We used it for the pattern. Yeah. So we made sure we didn't use other fabrics. We used fabrics from the collection. That's quite sort of cool. You can see close-up shots now as well. And again, this particular garment, it didn't have a pocket bag, so we just stamped the stamp story inside the back of the denim, which was quite cool. And again, lots of amazing like sort of details here. And we used the magic like 3/16 stitch, which is a really amazing measurement in the denim world. But we used that on the pockets on the front, and it was really fun. And yeah, a complete joy. And then the selvage garment. So this is actually the men's selvage garment based on a type of fiber 1 type fit. We used the same ITMA awarded Candiani fabric from the trucker jacket, and we used it for the pant. But obviously, the history of selvage jeans, obviously, it goes back, and it's a well-known story, like sort of like Levi Strauss and Jacob Davis in 1873, May 20th. They basically came up with Jacob Davis came up with the rivet, and that's what actually started a whole industry, really. So quite amazing. And this is an actual picture of the actual patent. Our particular one, we could have got inspiration from anything, really. You know, we've been making jeans, even Carme and her team, and we just basically did the best of all our ideas. And it was a really interesting garment. There wasn't much like discussion, but I brought some garments in so you can see how I like the washing treatment, how I like the wear pattern. This one is a Japanese vintage that I picked up in like Japan. I got it in like Bangkok. And then our own one, the only thing that Carme asked was, I want a cinch back. That was on her mood boards. Like, it has to be cinch more. And I said, damn right. So we put a cinch, and of course, as it's selvage, we made sure to put a bit of selvage on the cinch back as well, so people actually see that. I like the way how it's been constructed. Okay, it's selvage, of course, but it's got a peekaboo selvage on the coin pocket. It's got all our custom like rivets and buttons. But it looks like a normal 5 pocket, but it really isn't. It's like so enhanced to a point where we got a 1/8 twin needle on the fly. We've got all our custom rivets and buttons and our woven label, but we even went to the extent of making sure that the cinch was put on after the leather patch, which is quite funny. So, you know, these are like little details that only certain people will see and go, oh, even even all our stitching on our back pockets, we made sure it went off the pocket, and it had the concealed rivets as well. You can't have a real selvage jean without a concealed like rivet. So yeah, really fun. And that whole opportunity and the real estate of having that stamp story and the history of the TENCEL, and having opportunity. I never ever waste this opportunity on the pocket. Don't keep it blank, just put a stamp on it. So we made sure that we used every bit of like real estate we could, and we even like leather backed all our buttons and like rivets. And there's our carved in blue like rivet, which we're really proud of, with our peekaboo selvage. But this was in that particular Kame had a really low rating, right? So
yeah, this is the lowest time score on this collection, in fact.
wow.
And this is due to the integration of the different technologies. So what we are using here is not only the laser, obviously, because we need to add all these whiskers and use areas, but also we are washing the garment and using the H2O system that allow us to reuse again and again the water that we are using during the washing. So there are too many technologies involved, and that's why we can get these 20 as a
That's quite remarkable, really, because mostly everyone makes just 5-pocket jeans, really. So having the lowest rating on the pant is quite amazing for a collection like this. Definitely. And then here's a little bit of the selvage one-piece fly that we did as well. And again, a shout out to Black Horse Lane. Those guys followed the instructions absolutely perfectly for this like little collection. Quite amazing. Again, amazing details here, which you can find the PDF online, and you can actually like go through it in like detail. And then when it comes to the trims and branding side, what you know, there's lots of inspiration here that you were involved with. You had loads of mood boards of different ideas. So
yeah, I mean, you and me collecting quite a lot of inspiration, you know, for quite a long time now. But you know, with such detail going into the garments, it was really important to everyone, but particular to me, to have vintage inspired branding.
Yeah,
because I think it comes, you know, part and parcel of you know, vintage denim. A lot of the beauty is found in the branding.
You can ruin a garment by having a really beautiful vintage wash, and then you got a brand new button on it. It's just kind of like so it's like, yeah. So we really fought hard, going, we need to try and do something that is relevant for the period. And yeah, so we created a couple of buttons. And
yeah, so we looked at the early days of denim, so Boss of the Road, Sweetwater for inspiration, a lot of the big guys as well, and played around a bit, and this is what we settled on. We wanted to get the different size woven labels too, so that we had the freedom to patch them onto different garments, because the collection as a whole was, it's like we just found these pieces down the line. It wasn't that we built this collection to create a look.
Yeah.
Even though they work well as looks, but the point was is that there'd be maybe like a random print here or a random label here. So that was the idea in creating the different size labels.
We also did custom washer and bar rivets as well. These are the real rivets that punch all the way through. So you have a little bit of fabric poking out. Real detail that not many people like notice. And we used buttons that were two-pronged. So World War II style buttons, that actually, which we quite liked. And then we actually, the leather patch obviously was the same graphic idea that you used for the woven label. So once you landed on that, then the woven label happened like automatically.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is a close-up of the actual like rivet as well. I think the test image that YKK sent me. So I thought I'd just include that for fun. And yeah, it looked great. I'm really pleased with it. I think it worked out really well. And then we also created a couple of banner images as well.
Yeah.
For the trade shows.
Yeah. So I mean, this particular graphic with the trees was inspired by the early days of animation, and just the idea of having a kind of mascot, and just looking at all those Sweetwater and Boss of the Road in particular, because they always had these characters, and with the Levi's pulling, you know, the two horses.
Yeah, the tug of war concept has been around for a long time, and it even predates like Levi's. So yeah, there's a lot of it's a lot of interesting details, and we couldn't help ourselves. We had an opportunity to do a workwear collection, and it helped. And Sadia said, could we have two trees pulling a jean apart? And I think Michael loved the idea, didn't he, at that time? So it's like, yeah, we did that. It was like fun. and then we created some banners based on it. Just you know, not point of sale, but more of carrying on that story. Because obviously, you have most of the time at these trade shows, you just have a booth, and you can't have much, you can't do much anymore, which is great. So no one gets to show off. But we had an opportunity to make some banners just to put on the table or to hang up of other places. So we did that too. And then we ended it, and obviously we've jumped right at the end now. So Tricia, this is actually the photo shoot that you were involved with. Obviously the video that we saw a bit earlier, these are some of the photos from that
Yes.
you used.
These are more photos. This was the photo shoot that we did in New York City. And Richard Cordero has been our photographer for several years. I think between the styling that was done by French and the photography of Richard, really, and this whole scene of where we shot it. This was right outside of Manhattan. It's in a loft warehouse area in Queens that shot this in a studio. That I think we really captured, you know, the essence of this group. And this was just a street shot that we were happy with all the graffiti around it, and it was a perfect day to take everyone outside and really, you know, show how as a lifestyle this group worked too. So very happy with the photographs that captured all the details that everyone put into this collection.
And yeah, and obviously, guys, thank you again, and remember to always go on carved in blue. There's like Tricia and the team; they're always doing amazing posts, like 3 to 4 every week. So it's quite updated, and there's a lot of things that we're involved with, and also the TENCEL guys have got the whole like blue lens video channel that they've got as well. So very much supporting the industry. So again, amazing stuff. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.